What's up, guys? It's Kiku from The Nerd Life, and I'm sitting here with my good friend Derek Diamond, creator of the Derek Diamond Experience and founding member of the Nerd Cave Network, or Nerd Cave. Are you guys shortening it?
Nerd Cave, yeah.
It's just Nerd Cave now,
Yeah.
right? You took the network out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as soon as it's going to be Nerd, and then it's going to be
I like to think it's just going to be, we're going to go the Prince route, and we're just going to go with a symbol.
With a
Like maybe
symbol.
just the glasses.
That would work.
Yeah.
Or the beard. You would have to grow yours back.
Yeah.
Or just use Zach's, I think.
Yeah, Zach has the most impressive beard out of all of us.
He does. It's kind of like a wizened Gandalf meets Hobbit kind of beard.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Oh, fair enough. I hope he doesn't watch this. We're actually here in Derek's master office. We're using high-tech equipment today. I'm not used to that. I like to be a low-end. I just can't afford stuff. So anyway, Derek, you started Nerd Cave with Zach and Robbie about 3 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
From that, sprung out of that your own solo thing, which is the Derek Diamond Experience.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly just interviews, correct?
Correct.
What really got you into wanting to interview people?
Well, this kind of goes way back to my childhood. I was a big reader as a kid, but my favorite books were autobiographies. Like I remember getting Mick Foley, or Mankind as most WWE fans would know him. He came out with his own autobiography in the late 90s. And I got it the day it came out, and I read it in about a week or so, not very long.
Is that the one where he's on the cover in a flannel shirt and he's got the sock on his hand?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think I read that one too.
Yeah. So through reading that, I became really fascinated with how he got to where he was.
Right.
And through that, I started reading other autobiographies, just reading about people on the internet. I've never been the best people person, but I've always been fascinated with celebrities or athletes and how they got to where they were. I mean, of course, I love hearing about, their current time and their career or whatever, but the journey was always what interested me. Like, what made you want to do this? How did you do it? Why did you go left instead of right? Things like that. So through doing that, started the Nerd Cave podcast, and then through that, we started going to conventions like Pensacon,
Right.
Fanaticon, FandomCon, several other ones. And through making connections, I was like, maybe I could do my own interview type show. Because through listening to podcasts, I love, WTF with Mark Maron, The Nerdist, other interview shows. So I'm like, if I can book enough guests to do maybe 10 episodes, I'll just do it and then see if it continues from there.
And you're on what number episode now?
I just released episode 115 as of this
115.
recording.
So 10 episodes was a small goal to achieve.
Yeah,
in the long run.
I went to 10, then to 25, then 50, then 100. So, because doing an interview show is a lot different than doing your normal podcast. I'm sure you know how it is
Yeah.
with you doing Neek, me doing the Nerd Cave. When you have other people you can talk to about things, it's easy.
Very easy.
Yeah. But when you're doing shows that are based off of other people's availability, sometimes you can go weeks without doing an interview. So that's why I always try to get several in the can if I have the time to. So that way I can keep stuff. If there's multiple weeks that I can't do interviews, that way I can...
Slow roll it out, basically. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just do this on the fly. I'm like, oh, you got time? Cool, let's do it.
But no, that works, though.
Yeah,
That's good.
It
Yeah.
does, right? So at 115 episodes now, God, it's amazing. What are some of your most memorable interviews that you've done?
Most memorable, I would pick two. Like I put them in different categories.
Right.
Like there are some that I've just done with friends, and I enjoy those. They're a lot of fun because I don't really have to plan anything. We just hit the record button and we
See
talk.
where it goes.
Yeah. So the first guests I ever had were my friends Adam and Ian, who are in a local band called the Unicorn Wranglers. They also do the theme music for my show. Every year they come out with a new album, I get to use one of their songs as
that's really
my
cool.
intro and outro. It's a way we can like mutually, publicize each other.
Right.
So they were my first guest, but then I had them on a few months later with our friend Travis, who is a nutcase, to say the least. So it wasn't really us talking about their new album. It was just us telling funny stories. But we had so much fun doing it that I would easily put that as one of my favorites. Like there's a portion during that episode where we spend a good 30 seconds to a minute just laughing.
What episode number is that?
That is 21, I believe. It's called The Unicorn Wrangler's Return.
Okay. That sounds like a really terrible movie.
It does.
We need to make that movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. What's your other most memorable?
The other, I have had the fortunate pleasure of interviewing a few celebrities, and one was Claudia Wells from Back to the Future.
Right.
She was also a former Pensacon guest from this past year. I found her information on, and this is kind of a secret on how I get interviews. I have a subscription to IMDb Pro, and through that you can find agent contact information, phone numbers, emails. So I'll just send them emails, and I'll be like, hey, I host this podcast, and I'd love to interview your client so-and-so, and mention a few of the people I've had on, attach a link to a recent episode, and be like, this is what the format is like. I'd love to hear back from you, and so on and so forth. So I send her an email, and within an hour later, she responds back. And this is September of last year, so it's way before Pensacon.
Right.
And I also threw that in as kind of a hook. It was like, my show's based out of Pensacola. I'd love to talk with you about Pensacon. So she emails back, and she's like, yeah, I'd love to do it, but can we do it when it gets a little closer? So I was like, okay, that works. So a few months later, I reached back out to her again, and then we do the interview. And the reason why I put it as one of my favorites is because she was one of the nicest people that I've ever talked to. Very open, very classy. You find out why she wasn't in the sequels. She has her own men's clothing store that has been in LA since the 90s.
Wow.
That I had no idea. She's involved with like so many different charities. One is actually dedicated to helping kids who may not have the means to be creative, like doing art stuff or film stuff. They give these kids the opportunity to do that.
That's great. And
I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I'll have to send it to you, but it's a really, really cool concept.
That is a very cool concept.
Yeah, and it was, like a 20 or 30-minute conversation, but it was one of the best. And when I got to meet her in Pensacon, she actually remembered me.
Well, that's really cool.
And then she was like, yeah, she's like, no, did you put out the podcast we did? And I said, yeah. And she's like, yeah, just tweet it to me and I'll share it. And she did.
That's amazing. That's really cool.
One of the nicest celebrities I have ever met.
I didn't talk to her when she was at Pensacon.
Yeah.
Because we were so busy.
Yeah.
Flying around. For me, it was pretty much the Mallrats people. They were all...
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I was jealous of you for getting to do that. That was awesome. When you even got to host the Mallrats thing at Seville, like showing the movie, and you got to introduce the whole cast.
That, well, you know the story behind that. I'm not going to put that out there, but it was a lot of fun. It was. And actually...
And you did great doing that, by the way.
Thank you. Actually, their agent, Juliet, she was... I don't think I've ever met a nicer agent in my entire life.
She was great.
Oh, she was wonderful. If she ever comes back, I am going to buy her dinner or give her some flowers because she was just like, you want to interview people? Let's go. Let's just do it. I mean,
she would probably be a good interview, too.
She probably would. I bet she's got a lot of good stories.
Oh, yeah.
We would have to change the name of some of the actors to protect anonymity and, like probably some law stuff. But no, it was really fun.
No, absolutely.
So do you plan to continue doing the Derek Diamond Experience? Like, how long do you want to do that for?
Honestly, as long as people keep listening, and because I've gotten pretty good feedback on it, and as long as I can keep getting guests, which one thing I could offer is advice to those who want to do like an interview-based show and you don't have guests. It's like sometimes you go weeks or months without getting guests. One thing I've started doing is just doing roundtable discussions. I'll invite 2 or 3 friends on. Like I invited 2 friends on to talk about Cheers.
Right.
And we recorded a 2-hour podcast. And I had to cut it down because it was very, very long and we went off on tangents.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I've done wrestling roundtable discussions. Actually, the day we're recording this interview, tomorrow I'm doing a 90s Nickelodeon roundtable with a few friends. So You can shake things up a little bit and still keep the interviews. So that's as long as I can keep doing that. I mean, I love doing it.
What do you have planned for the future, like upcoming very soon?
As of right now, 90s Nickelodeon Roundtable will be out very soon. I'm going to be doing another Blue Wahoos feature.
Oh,
For those who don't know me, I work in creative services for the Blue Wahoos, and it's going to be a 2-part feature. One's going to have interviews with members of the actual team.
Oh, that's cool.
And then some front office staff to do like behind-the-scenes stories of how we prepare for a baseball season, individual baseball games, and what we do during the off season. So it's a combination of fun and informative stuff, I like to think.
Well, I mean, at least for me, when I watch an interview, like I want to learn something either about the person or what they're doing.
Yeah.
Not just hear funny stories and jokes. For me, it's, wow, that really, you did that, or you do that? That's cool.
Yeah. And it's good for people because, the Wahoos have a big following in town, and people may not know what we do to get ready for a game because there's a lot that goes into it. So it's extra publicity, I think, too.
Well, I think if you have people that, if you have a good explanation of what goes on, people, when they sit down in the seat to watch the game, are going to appreciate not just the game, but everything that's going on around them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just with any business almost. I mean, that is on a much larger scale than what anybody else or a lot of people do, right? But when you think about even putting on, a podcast like this, most people don't understand, the things that you do to get it out. It's not, a lot of the times it's not just flipping on a camera and talking into a microphone. It's
setting things up, it's editing.
Oh, yeah.
Finding hosting for the podcast, making logos, graphics, thumbnails if you use YouTube. There's a lot that goes into it.
It is. And I mean, working for the Blue Wahoos, you are like knee deep in Pensacola. You actually are somebody that holds up one of the finer points of Pensacola, the Blue Wahoos. And that's the whole point of this series, right, is to point out people in Pensacola that you might see every day or see, there, and you don't know what they're doing, but they are nerds, and they are doing amazing things. The Derek Diamond Experience, I've listened to a couple of episodes, the ones that really interest me. I was like, yeah, man, that's awesome. He talked to that person, and I'm jealous. But that's, something cool. You're putting something out there, and you're putting people up on pedestals, to hear their stories, right? And so that's amazing, Derek.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah. Well, I'll listen to you anytime. But you mentioned Pensacon. That's something we both do. A lot of guests. Who are you looking forward to interviewing and possibly getting on the Derek Diamond Experience?
Without a shadow of a doubt, it's Mick Foley. Because, no lie, when I started this podcast, I made a list of like dream guests, and he's in the top 10. So
wow.
if that happens, I will be a nervous wreck, but I would not be able to wait. If it happens, I'll just be so amped. It'll be crazy because I grew up watching him. I've been a big wrestling fan since I was 12, and he was one of my favorites just because he was like the average guy that made it.
Right, definitely. So is this going to be Derek emoting on a level that we've never seen before?
I think if I emote on any level, it'll be on a level that people have never seen before.
I'm just letting you know I will be there with camera. There will be other people there. I'll be like, pointed at Derek, pointed at Derek, pointed at Derek.
You can make it go viral. Just title it, Derek finally emotes or something like that.
Derek goes to new Super Saiyan level fanboy.
You can just put it in After Effects and give me the
gold
hair.
I will do it. I will definitely do it.
I'll even scream really loud for 30 seconds for you while you do it.
We don't want to scare the guest away, Derek.
Yeah, true. That is true.
But who else? Who else are you looking forward to?
Matt Ryan would be one. Loved Constantine.
Yeah, not the football player.
No, not the Atlanta Falcons quarterback. But I loved Constantine when it was on. It was something so different than Flash or Arrow or Legends of Tomorrow.
It should not have been on network television.
No, it should not. The thing that they set that show up to fail by putting it on Friday nights, and they didn't really publicize it. And I was shocked that it didn't get picked up by Netflix.
I think NBC was really hoping for a fringe kind of effect, like it would build that hardcore fan base, right? I think Netflix didn't want to pick it up because it was DC, and they have the Marvel
Yeah,
contract.
that's true.
I was actually really surprised though that NBC didn't try to get it onto one of their like cable, channels or somebody like that to where they could do it a little bit darker. Even AMC, make it look what they did with Preacher, right? I am looking forward to Matt Ryan. I squealed like a little girl when I saw that on Facebook.
We know that Mike Inslee's a huge Matt Ryan fan.
Oh, yeah.
And when he posted that picture that was like, oh, you guys will know why I'm so excited. I'm like, it's got to be Matt Ryan. And sure enough, it was. And I'm like, yes.
It's a big get.
Yes. What about you? Who are some people that you look forward to talking to?
If I can,
Yeah.
James Marsters.
That's a very good one.
I have been a secret Buffy fanboy of his for God knows how long. Probably since the series first aired. If I can talk to him, I'm not even going to ask for a panel because Lord knows that's not going to happen, right? But if I can get 2 minutes of his time,
that would be awesome.
I mean, it'll be me gibberishing questions. I'll be like, and then he'll hopefully understand what I said and he'll respond. Ted Raimi.
Ted Raimi's a good one too.
Ted Raimi. Not just because he was Jockster in Hercules and Xena, which I'm very interested in because that's part of my childhood, but also because he was a part of Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like one of those guys that you're just like, you must have some killer stories to tell about this stuff. And I would love to put that out there for people, just like this. I would love to just 2 minutes of your time, man, give it to me.
Yeah.
So... But yeah, those are my two. And of course, I would love to talk to Mick Foley because the Rock and Sock connection was amazing.
Oh, my
growing
God.
up. And then, of course, Matt Ryan, not the Atlanta Falcons quarterback. He is Constantine. Like when they first showed him, I remember when they first showed him, and I was like, "Holy, that's the Hellblazer!
Yep.
That is him right there." And then the first episode, I was like, "Oh my God, this is gonna fail because it is so good and it's on NBC."
Yeah.
So I'm super stoked, and the rumors that he might get his own show on the CW now, or they might do Justice League Dark on the CW, which.
Well, they're doing the animated movie. Matt Ryan is the voice of Constantine. Yeah.
Which I'm super stoked about.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the only time you'll get to see Swamp Thing out of the 80s, right?
Yeah.
And it's the only time you'll see Dead Man. The only time you will ever see Dead Man. So I'm super stoked about that.
That movie is going to be huge, I think, because that Constantine, Swamp Thing, they all have their hardcore fan bases, and they're all going to combine together to see this movie.
Especially because Swamp Thing is created by Alan Moore, so a lot of people who just saw The Killing Joke are going to, be like, "Oh, it's the same guy, right?"
Yeah.
And people are like, "Yeah, a little different concept, but still."
Yeah.
And then, of course, knowing that Matt Ryan's voicing Constantine, you're going to be like, "Gotta see that. Got to see that."
Gotta love Matt Ryan.
He's just so good.
He is.
He really is.
He is Constantine. No one else can play him but Matt Ryan.
And that's the sad thing is that, I actually enjoy the Keanu Reeves movie. But then when you see Matt Ryan, you're just like, oh, no, Keanu, no.
Funny story, I was a huge Smallville fan when it was on. And I can't remember his name. Oh, Justin Hartley played the Green Arrow, Oliver Queen.
Right.
And I remember hearing that Arrow was getting its own show. So I was like, okay, well, it'll just be a spinoff of Smallville. And they're like, no, it's going to be totally different. And this guy named Stephen Amell is going to play the Arrow. And I'm like, well, this kind of sucks. But then when I watched Arrow, I'm like, okay, this guy is Oliver Queen.
Right. I think halfway through the first season, I was convinced. That's when it really started to get good.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, I can't watch you, Arrow. You've done bad things to me.
Season 3 was... not
a thing?
It was a thing. It happened.
It happened.
It was not nearly what season 2 was. But season 4 was better. I'm curious to see what they do with the new season. Flash is fantastic.
Yeah.
And Legends, like, I wanted to get into it, but I just kind of tapered off towards the end.
Ton of potential for that show, right?
Yeah.
The theory that we have kicking around is that Arrow's probably going to end season 5 because they don't want to get it to syndication, and he'll move permanently over to Legends of Tomorrow, where Legends of Tomorrow is going to go away, the title, and it'll be Justice Society.
Okay.
Because, I mean, if you think about it now with everything on that same channel, right, why not?
Yeah. If they do it right, I'd have zero issue with it.
Well, I mean, you have your Superman, right, with Supergirl. You have your Batman with Oliver Queen. You have the Flash. With DCCU or DCEU, whatever you want to call it now.
Yeah.
Rumors of Green Lantern or Green Lanterns. You can always bring a Green Lantern in just for like that show. You don't have to give him his own show and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can do with that, right? Like so.
Yeah. I'd be excited to see it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it'd be hopefully better than Arrow
Than what Arrow has been.
has become. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Neil McDonough, I would.
He was great.
He's
as Damien
always
Dark.
great.
Yeah.
Oh, he's always great.
Yeah.
My favorite role of his, and I can't remember the actual character's name, but when he was in Justified.
I never saw that.
Oh my God, you got to watch that.
Justified.
Do you have Amazon Prime?
I do.
It's on the whole kit and caboodle's on there.
I will have to check that out.
Timothy Olyphant, I love him.
Oh, he's good too. Very
Yeah.
underrated.
Very underrated, but in like that show, he is Raylan Givens. Like nobody else could have played that role.
I'll have to add that to the long list of stuff that I need to catch up on.
Yeah, I just kind of flip in and out. Like I'll
Yeah.
be like Mondays are for this show, and then Tuesdays are for this.
That's not a bad idea.
It's not. It really isn't.
Yeah.
And then I'll have like my free days, right, where I'm like, I just feel like watching this.
Yeah.
Although lately I've been rewatching The Office.
Me too.
Really?
It's so good.
So good.
I love that show.
So good. John Krasinski, man. Let me tell you something. I'm actually not a big fan of Steve Carell on the show. Like, I'm like, okay, Michael Scott. But when him and Dwight Schrute, God, what is his name? Rainn
Wilson.
Wilson.
Yeah.
When they go at it, man.
It's so good.
That's the best.
I mean, it was still one of my favorite things from that whole series is one of the first episodes when he puts the stapler in the Jell-O.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
I've wanted to pull that prank on someone, but I've just never done it.
Do we know somebody who has an office like that?
I could probably pull it off at work.
Yeah. But I
Maybe.
couldn't be a part of that. It'd have to be somebody I knew, too.
True. We'll figure that out off
We
the
will.
air. Because that would be epic.
Yeah, it would be amazing. Where's my... Damn it. These guys. We went off on a wild tangent there.
Yeah, we did.
So you guys got some information about TV shows and whatnot. So we said at the beginning of the show, you are a founding member of the Nerd Cave. What do you guys have planned? I know you guys just started Patreon for your Nerd Cave Gaming, correct?
Well, we just started a Patreon. It launched August 1st. What we did is we kind of look at Patreon as a subscription like
Right.
Netflix or Hulu, and we offer several different things. If you can't support us, then we totally understand that, and you can still get all of our stuff, YouTube videos, podcasts, all of that for free. But what we offer is early access to it. So say for $1, you get an exclusive episode that we do once a month. So like say for August, we did just a pick a topic episode. So we had a variety of things from, what movie or TV show made you laugh the hardest,
Right.
to something, super serious. If you pay $5, I believe you get early access to the podcast, not just the Nerd Cave one, but the Derek Diamond Experience, our fantasy football podcast, all of them. Then you get early access to YouTube as the tiers get higher and so on and so forth. So it's something we've been talking about doing for the past few months, and we've just decided to pull the trigger on it.
Cool. Well, I wish you guys luck in that.
Well, thank you.
I am not up to that many subscribers to even attempt. They'd laugh at me and probably tar and feather me.
Don't worry about that. You wouldn't do that.
Actually, I'm kind of interested in the tar and feathering.
Well, I mean, if you're into that sort of thing,
I figure I would be known as the Pensacola Chicken Man.
you probably would get a good reputation off of that.
Exactly. I could go work for Popeyes.
Yeah, you could be their mascot.
I could.
You can make killer money off of that, and then you'd be more successful than any of us.
Ideas. Right. So future Nerd Cave, just real quick, what do you guys have planned for the future, the three of you combined forces, like Voltron just without legs?
It's something like that. As far as conventions go, we don't have anything upcoming yet. I mean, we'll obviously be at Pensacon
Right.
in February. Don't know about anything before that. We do have a new YouTube channel called Nerd Cave Gaming, where we put all of our Let's Plays and game-related news. Our original one is still there. It's just Nerd Cave, and that's where we do our reacts videos,
Right.
top 5 list, where we put the podcast, various things like that. So you've got basically your pop culture channel and your gaming channel.
No, that's cool.
And other than that, we're just doing more content. I mean, we just hit 170 episodes, so in a few months we'll hit 200, which if you had told me 3 or 4 years ago that I would be doing a podcast that was close to 200, I'd be like, you're out of your mind.
Hey, I was on the 150th episode.
You were.
It was a blast.
Both you and Jeremy Branch,
yep,
yeah.
from Be Terrible.
We'll have to have you guys back for 200.
That would be amazing, because me and Zach went at it, and it was a lot of fun.
It was.
It was.
I remember just kind of just like, okay, we're just going to...
I'm going to let
At least-
the
yeah.
two guys that have the weirdest sense of humor talk. Let's see what happens.
And let's just watch the magic unfold.
Right. Oh, man, I said some really horrendous. Don't watch that episode.
No, it was great. It was one of
funny.
my favorites.
No, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot
Yeah.
of fun with you guys. I always do. So
Absolutely, yeah.
So, Derek, do you want to say anything else before we wrap this up?
Just thank you to everyone who listens to the Derek Diamond Experience, the Nerd Cave podcast, and all the neat content as well.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for supporting us, because without you, it wouldn't be possible.
That is very true. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Dad.
Right. Derek, thank you very much for doing this.
Oh, absolutely.
And we will collaborate on something.
Absolutely.
I'll have you on one of the funny videos that I do.
If you need a straight guy for it,
That's
your
what I'm
guy.
thinking,
Yeah.
actually. Except straight but weird, kind of.
I can do weird.
Good.
I like it.
Good.
We'll talk.
All right.
Yeah.
Derek, thank you very
Yep.
much, man.
Thank you very much.
Check out the Derek Diamond Experience and Nerd Cave Network whenever you get a chance. Also, guys, if you like what you're seeing, check out the rest of the series, Nerds of Pensacola. A lot of great people from this area who do really cool things. Listen to their stories. Subscribe. And also check out all the comedy stuff I do, like Don't F with Harley Quinn, which I fell on my keys and hurt myself. And with that, guys, keep it nerdy, and I'll check you later.